I've always wanted to represent apnea in a positive way. And I was thinking, what can I do? What am I good at? I love to train. I love to bodybuild. My way to project ourselves in a positive light was to compete. I was only ever going to compete if I thought I'd win. My mindset was being a turban wearing Sikh. I don't just need to be good, and I need to be the clear winner. I didn't know how to diet down. Never dieted down before. Never got lean before. Nothing like that. I knew I was going to attain that physique. I was going to be lean enough, but I didn't know how to do it. I got the buzz. I want to come first. I want to get to the final, junior men's physique. So I came first. Then I qualified for the British finals, and I came first there as well. Can I compete in the Arnold's in Barcelona? He goes, oh, I don't know, get to like your turban out there. I was about to get onto the stage. They go, oh, you can't wear that thing. I was like, why? I go, it's part of my faith, my religion. You can only go on stage and take it off. I go, no, I'm going to go on stage. I'm not going to take it off. I got qualified wearing it. I'm going to compete with it as well. I was thinking, why am I being singled out here? From being first in my category 2 years running to being not even in the placing, not even top 10.
Welcome back to the KultureKast podcast. My guest today is a bodybuilder and a UK champion in men's physique. Welcome, Jorawar Singh. How are you doing?
Yeah, all good. Thank you, man. Thank you for getting me on this podcast.
No, I appreciate it. I appreciate the time. I know that you've just been on your holidays and been into the sunny weather of Barcelona. How was your travels?
Yeah, it was very good, man. Very good. It's good going back to Barcelona after my experience competing there. Obviously, when competing there a few years ago, I couldn't, explore the place. But this time I could explore it and, check it out properly. And yeah, it was very good. Very good.
100%. We will talk about that experience shortly because of an incident that occurred during that competition. But we're going to start right at the beginning. What was baby Jorawar like? What were you like as a kid? What was your upbringing like? What was your cultural background like? And any influences from the culture side of things as well?
This is from my dad, really, initially. So my dad was a kabaddi player for Southall, and this was in the 80s, early 90s. And obviously he was into training as a kabaddi player. He was into training, and he retired when I was probably about 2 or something like that. And he was still training at home. He made a little room within the garage, and within the room he had all his weights and bench press and everything like that. And I was probably 5 or something like that, maybe. And I remember my dad wouldn't allow me in the room, so he'd kick me out the room whilst he'd be training. I'd peep through the keyhole and see him train. I think that probably just sparked my interest in training, and also my dad was always used to watch movies, like Bruce Lee, Arnold Schwarzenegger. So watching the movies, that also watching the movies, I was thinking, shit, like I want to be like them as well. So I wanted to have like a athletic physique like Bruce Lee and be able to fight, and also be good in size like a bodybuilder like Arnold. So yeah, that's what initially sparked my interest in weightlifting and bodybuilding.
Well, I guess your dad sort of encapsulate both of them, and like typically kabaddi players are quite large in stature and do have quite athletic physiques, and obviously it's not a fighting sport, but it is still a physical sport, so it is a bit more hands-on, and you need to be able to handle yourself. So, what would you say that he was sort of like a superhero to you growing up? Like you wanted to be a bit like him as well?
Yeah, well, growing up, I used to hear people saying, "Oh, my dad was a really good kabaddi player. He was a raider, so basically an attacker, in other words." And yeah, a lot of people used to say that he's really good. And I remember like my friends' dads would have like old newspaper articles of like my dad or whatever, winning the tournament and stuff. So yeah, that I was thinking, shit, like I want to do something as well. And but yeah, seeing my dad train, that sparked my initial interest.
Yeah, no, that is especially when you're like when other people are telling you like obviously how great your dad is and things, and it sort of makes this larger than life sort of character. And I guess like how you were saying that he would kick you out of the garage and you would have to peep through the keyhole and things. I'm guessing that sort of it's like the forbidden fruit thing, isn't it? It's like if you're told not to do something, you just want to do it even
Yeah.
more. So it's like if you're not allowed to even watch, then you just want to be in there and sneaking in and probably playing around with weights and stuff.
Yeah, that made me curious. And also, I remember quite clearly, I used to go in, jump in the room as well, and start lifting weights. I was probably max, probably 8, 5 to 8 or something. I used to go into the room and try lift weights and stuff. But yeah, my dad was scared I might injure myself, so he used to kick me out of the room whilst he was training.
Yeah, yeah. Just see if you can emulate some of the movements that he was doing. There's also that thing of like I don't know if this is actually true, to be honest, but that whole thing of like don't lift weights when you're a kid because it might stunt your growth and stuff like that. So there's always that, just hold on, like when you're a bit older, like you can lift weights then, but obviously as a kid nobody really thinks of weightlifting, but it is more sports and that side of things that is like, oh, that's fine, but don't lift weights. Did you ever get into kabaddi, or was that something that wasn't for you and it was mainly the weightlifting side?
I was, as a, I did play kabaddi a little bit, not like train for it, nothing like that. But like before finals and stuff, at these different tournaments, like the juniors would go and play amongst themselves,
Mhm.
and I'll do that on I've probably done that 4 or 5 times, and then that kind of, and also I want to emulate my dad as well. And
Yeah,
I'm into sports and combat sports because I used to do karate when I was young. But uh, seeing that there's a lot of politics and sort of thing, and and drinking and whatever that, and also they don't really give chance to us over here, like UK born or American born or whatever. They don't really give us chance. All well, I say 90-95% of these kabaddi players are from India, right?
mhm.
So I think if you have more opportunity, if they give more opportunities to youngsters over here, I think there'll be much more interest in kabaddi, and it'll grow rapidly as well.
Yeah, like obviously we've seen with the politics and things. I think obviously the kabaddi player who unfortunately lost his life at a
Yeah,
competition and things like that. It's not amazing in that aspect, and it is quite it is like a very culturally driven sport. So when you say the
yeah,
drinking and things like that are obviously tied to it. Obviously the good things of like the live music and get-togethers and all things. There's positives and drawbacks, I
yeah,
guess,
yeah,
is what I'm trying
100%.
to say. Yeah,
Yeah, don't get me wrong, it's a wicked sport, and also it promotes our culture as well.
mm,
Yeah, but obviously the drinking isn't part of our culture. That's all made up, and
yeah,
one of the biggest factors of me, I think, one of the biggest factors of me getting into competing and bodybuilding was that growing up, and when I was in my teenage years, a lot of people from other communities would be like, "Oh, um, Asians drink a lot," or even Sikhs, Punjabis, they're known for drinking. Why don't you drink? Like, I wanted to change that sort of thinking, and to change that sort of thinking and detach that stigma, I decided to to train and compete because I want to show up near that, yeah, like there's more to than just drinking. Um, there's more to than just drinking, and is best to forget drinking, not to drink, and stay fit and healthy. You know, but yeah,
yeah. The party culture is big in the community, and obviously, I think that shift is happening. Maybe it's from a biased perspective for myself because of the pages I follow on social media promote obviously a lot more fitness and sports and things like that. Hence, a lot of the guests on the podcast, and that's probably because of my interest. But in my opinion, the highlighting of these athletes like yourself, like the boxers that are coming through, like pages like Seek Muscle
yeah,
and generally athletes that are obviously breaking through now from our community, is hopefully changing that perspective. I think the other thing stereotypically is that Indians typically aren't genetically gifted towards sports. And I think that attitude is shifting with the likes of yourself competing on stages, with the likes of like Randy, Lotte, and people like that getting absolutely jacked and going on the stages absolutely shredded, changes that perspective.
I think I think Apne might not be genetically gifted, as in like maybe I don't know, building muscle be massive or whatever. But Apne are more like athletic, fast, and so I think in different communities have different negatives and positives about themselves genetically. So, but yeah, there's a lot of Apne coming up in the bodybuilding industry, and obviously breaking them barriers.
100%. On the Kabaddi thing, I think I seen recently there was a tournament maybe in London, and it was mainly like UK-based teams and things. So hopefully things like that obviously happen a lot more. And I think in Canada there's a lot more competitions with like actual Canadian, like Canadian-born Apne, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Kabaddi as well. So hopefully it does, like it becomes more inclusive of the NRIs, for example, to compete in that sport as well, because it is obviously good. I think Canada is probably a bit more ahead of that in terms of some sports than ourselves. Like a lot of the wrestlers that I see from over there come from like a Kabaddi/wrestling background.
You get women, going to Kabaddi matches as well. They have their own like tag of war and stuff like that. They have like a sports day kind of thing there,
100%.
and they book out stadiums. So yeah, they're quite advanced ahead of us over here in the UK.
Definitely, which is weird because like it's sort of a newer culture over there than ourselves, but they have exceeded us in some aspects.
That's true.
When you were obviously doing Kabaddi, karate, things like this at a young age, and other sports, if there was any, was another part of the fitness to supplement that, or was there ever a decision time that you were like thinking, I just want to get more fit so I can be better at karate or Kabaddi, or was it just I'm going to leave them behind me now and focus on purely fit, like the gym and bodybuilding?
To be honest, I've always wanted to represent Apne in a positive way. Obviously about us Apne drinking and stuff, that's not a positive image to give ourselves, right? So I want to represent Apne in a positive light. And I was thinking, what can I do? What am I good at? I was good at, and I love to train. I love to bodybuild, and I was quite athletic from the start and into sports. So so yeah, my way to project ourselves in a positive light was to compete on stage and let people know about Apne as well, like, from other communities and stuff. But yeah, so I think that's what my thinking was.
Fair enough. Like I think for a lot of people, it's more that they get into fitness and then they get to a certain level, and then obviously keep on pushing the boundaries in the gym with your friends and things, or by yourself, and then get to a certain point where you need the competition to sort of validate how far you've got, if that makes sense. Whereas yourself being a conscious decision to promote your background, which is very commendable. What did you think at that time when you wanted to do your first competition that you were at that level, if that makes sense, like in air marks, I guess? Like, did you think that if you competed, you'd win?
I was only ever going to compete if I thought I'd win. Otherwise, I wouldn't compete.
Okay.
I wouldn't even think about competing then. I'd only compete if I think I'm going to win. If I'm sure about winning, otherwise I wouldn't compete. That's just, how my mindset is. And also another thing is, as a there probably obviously ran deep before me and maybe one or two other guys. Then bodybuilding. I think I was probably like, I don't think Randy was a Turban on stage, but I was probably one of the first or whatever to wear the Turban on stage, and so Sorry about that. Could you repeat the question again? Sorry.
No, so I was just asking, like, because it takes, like, when you're in the gym and you're generally looking aesthetically pleasing, you're working on your goals, you're probably doing a winter bulk and a summer shred. At what point does a summer shred turn into, I actually want to compete? You know what I mean? What, like, at what point is it like the physique that I've got, I think that I can win a competition? Because you have to have a level of confidence in your own ability to be able to even take that step in the first place.
Yeah, like I said, only reason I'd compete is because I think I'd win, right? Otherwise, I wouldn't even compete. Wouldn't even think about it. And also, my mindset was that obviously being a turban wearing Sikh competing, and also coming through racism when growing up, I was thinking, all right, I don't just need to be good or be good enough for first place. I need to be the best I could be, and I need to be the clear winner. I need the spectators to think, okay, shit, he's the winner as soon as I step on stage. You know, because if the judges, I'm not saying the judges are racist or whatever, but you know, growing up, you have that sort of mindset, shit, like what if the racist or whatever. So I wanted the spectators to know, yeah, he's the winner before the judges even decide. So that was my mindset going into competitions.
Yeah, it's like that. You have to, you can't work as hard as the next man to get the same result. You've got to work better just to get the same result. And I think that mindset does come to a lot of immigrant households, up and included, because of experiences. Whereabouts are you? Whereabouts did you grow up and based? Is it London, Birmingham?
Southall.
Southall. Okay.
Everyone knows about Southall. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm surprised at that, because the reason I ask is obviously you mentioned the racism there growing up, and that is surprising to me, because when you think of Southall, you think of it's basically
No,
like,
Wales. I from about when I was 9 up to when I was 9, I was living in Southall, but then I moved over to Norfolk. I was there for probably about 5-6 years, and back then there were only predominantly white people, blacks as well. But yeah, every time we used to go to the park, used to get into a fight or whatever. Loads of times where I've got into fights, to be honest. Even I remember I was walking down the road, main road, and there's I think there's 3 guys walking, and one of them hit into me. His shoulder hit into me, into my face. I was thinking, you know, like I was really angry. I was pissed off. I didn't say nothing. I just looked at him. When he was about to cross, I stuck my middle finger out and ran. But yeah, things like that used to happen.
yeah.
I think I was only like probably 12 then. They were probably like 16, 17. But yeah, things like that, you know, experience like quite a bit probably on a weekly basis.
When you move to an area where it is very different, and obviously you feel isolated because you're getting discriminated against, did that have an impact on like confidence or and things like that? Like how was that side of things, like mentally, I guess, for you?
That probably did have an effect on confidence in ways. So like, you know, for example, if I apply for a job or something like that, I think of shit like, you know, I'm a minority here, would they like me or whatever, you know. That did. But growing up, I moved back to Southall, by the way, after living there for 4, 5, 6 years. Yeah, growing up, I think I've become more aware that not everyone's like that. So
it's obviously had like a lasting impact, as you said. Like your mentality has obviously shifted, because you think that you need to do better just to have the same result, and that's obviously stemmed from somewhere, and it sounds like it's from there. And it's understandable. Like as I've said on the podcast a few times, I'm from Newcastle. Not very many Asians when I was growing up. The community here is a lot smaller than down south, like in Southall and Birmingham and things. And the discrimination is obviously quite evident, and so it does have an impact, even though potentially at the time you don't realize it. It's more retrospectively you look back and be like, oh, this is why I'm doing what I'm doing now, is because of these little things that happened then. But it is quite interesting. And then when you're getting more serious into the gym, I assume it's probably more in the teenage years after that move. So do you think that they balanced each other out, as in the confidence may have dropped because of the discrimination, but then elevated again because of the confidence from going to the gym and the results that you're seeing?
When I started going to the gym, well, I was going to gym probably when I was 15. I think you had to be 16 to get a membership.
Yeah, same. Yeah.
Yeah. So what I'll do is, this was it 2007, 2008. I was probably about 14, 15 years old. Yeah. So me and my mate, what we used to do was just hang around outside David Lloyd's in Heston, and we'd ask. We never had it. Obviously, we couldn't get membership; we were too young. So we hang around in the car park and approach different people, and say we make a story like, "Oh, our friend was going to let us in the gym, but his car broke down. So can you let us in your guest pass?" So with the guest pass, they never used to ask for age.
Right. Okay.
They never asked for proof. So but we had to pay, was it £12 or something each time? But yeah, I'll go during the holidays. I'll go, was it 4 times a week or something like that? And I was only like 15 then, and but yeah, that's when I, when I started to go gym. But there was a time where probably around 2009, 10ish, where obviously I had my A levels and stuff. Probably wasn't going as much. But I was training at home using my dad's old equipment when I was old enough to use it.
Yeah, when you were allowed.
Yeah. I had his bench in my room and everything. But back then I never knew about nutrition, and even about training. Only recent, probably from 2012, 13 onwards, there's been lots of awareness, and YouTube and things like that. There's been so much awareness and so much knowledge on the internet, but back then there wasn't much really.
I think that's the social media era, when you have all the fitness influencers who came out obviously on YouTube. Like I used to watch a guy called Christian Guzman when I started first going to the gym, because he was putting out like all of his workouts and like how to track calories and macros and all this stuff. So like I think when that sort of 2012 era came about, and obviously Instagram influencers and all these things came about, there is obviously so much more knowledge that is going out there, but it's also the filtering as well that you have to be a bit more clued up on, and that obviously comes with time, realizing that obviously this person is probably not probably not natural, even though this exactly, and then they're saying that they are, and then they're saying here's a pill that made me, even though I'm natural, do this, and it's like it becomes a sicky one. But
nowadays there's too much info out there, too much information, but a lot of it is just quite rubbish, to be honest. But you need to be able to pull apart what is real, what is fake, So, but yeah, back then it was very hard to come by like real information. I remember I'd watch probably like there'd be videos on YouTube, probably like like Ronnie Coleman, Jay Cutler, eating rice and chicken. I used to be like, shit, there must be much more. There must be more to it. I'm thinking like there's some sort of secret they're not telling us.
Yeah.
But thinking about it now, and what I've known is there's no secret out there. Just train hard consistently, and diet as well, hard and consistently. There's not a lot to it. Obviously, them guys do on whatever they were on, but there's no real secret out there. Even people ask me, tell me some sort of powder or something like that. When I go gym, I get like up on it from India. They're like, Paji, my powders run out, my proteins run out, I can't train properly. I'm like, what's in the powder? There's just milk, cheese and eggs. That's where protein powder derives from, right? And but yeah, they'll still ask me the next day, Paji, tell me some sort of protein powder to take. But yeah, there's no real secret to this. You just need consistency and also patience as well. That's very important. Patience. It's trial and error as well. A lot of it.
100%.
Make mistakes, improve. That's it.
100%. It's a quick fix mentality, isn't it? It's like when you said the protein powder thing, the thing that comes into my mind. Do you remember Space Jam, the original one, where they write on the bottle like secret special water or something, and they drink the special water, and they go out and they smash it, but then the special water runs out, and they're like, "What the hell?" And Michael Jordan's like, "Yo, it's in you all this time. You just got to work hard, and you'll get it," sort of thing. It's sort of like that. Like I guess placebos obviously work very very strong in that essence, but so. Obviously, you were very enthusiastic, and it took you time to sort of get the knowledge and understanding to be a bit more have controlled enthusiasm, let's call it. And from I think from the pictures that I've seen, it was more skinny kid getting bigger rather than fat kid getting leaner. Is that fair to say?
Yeah. Although I was very athletic as well, I used to go karate twice a week. From when I was probably 5 years to about probably 12 or something like that, and that just instilled in me, like, to be healthy, athletic, and also that got me into combat sports as well. So, and also my dad being into kabaddi, watching football as well. So I had all these positive influences around me, which was what drove me to that.
Yeah, and you probably already had the discipline from martial arts and things to like transfer over into bodybuilding. Was it always like aesthetically inclined? Is that was always your like ambition to look good? Because I know obviously for myself, when I first got into the gym, it was to lose weight and to look good. But as soon as I started lifting weights, I sort of got like more addicted to let's increase this, and almost shifted into like a powerlifting mindset rather than a bodybuilding mindset, because I just wanted to get stronger and stronger and stronger. Was your goal always to just look like, as you say, the movie stars that you were watching as a kid, like Arnold and things like that?
I never wanted to be like Jay Cutler or anyone like that. I just wanted to be athletic, because going karate, I'll do splits, and and I could kick quite high. I still wanted to have that in me.
Can you still do it now?
I can't do the splits anymore, but I'm working on it, But I'm still quite athletic as well. But yeah, I've always wanted to be athletic, and I didn't want to be too big either. And at the same time, being in this industry, obviously there's a lot of bodybuilders dying as well. People saying, "Oh, I don't know what." That's all. Yeah, a lot of bodybuilders are dying nowadays. You must have heard recently as well.
Yeah.
Bodybuilder died recently. I don't know whether it's from steroids or vaccine, whatever it could be. So that's another thing. Like, I'm quite health conscious as well about myself. So and also it does take a toll eating, was it 6 times a day or whatever. And but yeah, I think you got to find a best of both worlds as well. Not just train, get big. No, you got to look after your health as well. See what's best for your health first of all.
Is that why you opted for men's physique? Because that is more of a athletic type build, like a swimwear, like beach body sort of look, rather than the classic physique, which is obviously the Ronnie Colemans and the Jay Cutlers that you mentioned before.
Yeah, definitely. That's why. So before there was men's physique, I remember thinking to myself, like, shit, like, these bodybuilders are massive. There was no classic men's physique back then. This was like 2012, when I was kind of like getting into the gist of it, like, getting to grips with the diet aspect of training. And I was thinking, shit, like, these guys are massive. Like, I'm probably never going to be like that. I don't even want to be like that either. And so then I was just training hard, and then I remember like 2013, 14, that's when men's physique came around. And then that's when I was like, shit, like, I want to get into competing now, because that's the type of physique I aspire to, and is more attainable, So yeah, that's what my thinking was.
And well, to be fair, looking at like obviously your Instagram and things and the pictures of your physique, it is very much tailored to that. You have the very broad shoulders and sort of tapered physique and quite a skinny waist, which is obviously always great in a bodybuilding aspect for judging and things like that, because that is pretty much what they look for is proportions and things. Um, when you made that decision that obviously like I want to compete. Obviously, I want to represent the Turban on stage and things like that. Had you already done a few like summer shreddings, I guess you could call them, like if you're going on holiday or like a lad's holiday or something beforehand, you want to get a bit cut up before? Like, had you already tested how far you could push your body? No.
No, check this. Basically, I entered a competition which is called Fit Factor in 2014, and um, by then I had grasped, you know, dieting and training as well. Obviously, it wasn't as it is now, but I had grasped at least the basics to training and dieting. And I entered a competition called Fit Factor, and this competition used to happen at the Expo Body Power Expo, if you remember, in Birmingham.
Yeah.
And that was for Fit Factor was more so for a athletic fitness type of physique, and so you'd have to show your legs as well. You basically have to wear a gachi or whatever, yeah. And so I entered that competition. I always wanted to do men's physique. I was thinking, let me do something a bit lesser, you know, before I get into that competition. So I entered this competition. I didn't know how to diet down. Never dieted down before. Never got lean before. Nothing like that. Yeah. And so I entered the competition. I got through the initial stage. It's like a little audition kind of thing, you know. Got through, and then my competition was probably 3 months out from then. And then I was like, I knew I was going to attain that physique. I was going to be lean enough, but I didn't know how to do it.
Right.
So what I do, yeah. So what I used to do is research every single day, 1 hour before I sleep, how to do it. And then yeah, I've just researching everything, and I didn't. To be honest, I only took protein shakes, and I just about started to take protein shakes, and I only started to take protein shakes 3 years into training, because because my I always used to research before I used to do anything, and my aim, and I wanted it to be sustainable. So I would rely on food more than, you know, in supplements. You know, when you first start to train, you rely on supplements first, right? You're thinking, well, it's gonna make you like have some sort of superpower or something like that.
Yeah.
I know. I used to I'd only take protein shakes just after training, and probably take BCAs, but I didn't know when to take it. I just used to take it whenever, you know. But yeah, I managed to diet down for the competition and attain a good level physique, and I think I came eighth. I think it was eighth or ninth or something like that out of 100, and I think it's about 80 to 120 people
Okay.
who competed from the UK. So yeah, that's how it went down.
It's decent. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like it's a funny one, because I think I was quite similar in that sense, where I have swung from both ways basically. So at the beginning of my sort of fitness journey, or whatever you want to call it, is I did all the supplement stuff like most people do, because you think, oh,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like you said, you're gonna become Superman or something. But if you take every single Tom, Dick, and Harry pill that is
Yeah.
like sort of offered at the time, so obviously got on the protein shakes, started taking pre-workouts, started taking all these like vitamins and supplements and things like that, and then realized that like you have to have the foundations first before that makes
Exactly.
any difference. Do you know what I mean? And as you said, it's not sustainable. So I went to India for a couple of months. What am I supposed to do then? Do you know what I mean? Like all my protein
Yeah.
and stuff's over here, I can't take off, and then the one year over there. because you probably get stuck in customs or something in it and be like, well, what's going on? So, but over there, when you see how they train, when you go to like the little gym in the bend, and you see guys who are absolutely fucking huge, to be fair, do you know what I mean? And all they're doing is lifting hot, heavy ass weight, going home having like Jarpan rotiyan, and then they go and do kitty afterwards. Do you know what I mean? And then they'll have Jarpan rotiyan again. Do you know what I mean? They just eat, work hard, and it really makes you look at things a bit like different. It's like, oh, it's not actually that complicated. Like you said before, it's quite simple. You just need work hard, be consistent, and you sort of get to some sort of level of good physique.
To be honest, I gained the most muscle. You know, they call it newbie gains.
Yeah.
When you first join the gym, and then you, you know, build muscle. Then I built probably about 4 kg in about a month or something. I wasn't taking no protein shakes. I was just eating.
Yeah.
I was just eating really, like, probably 6-7 times a day.
It's false confidence though, isn't it? Because in that period within the first month, when you gain all that muscle, you think, oh, the gym stuff's really easy, isn't it?
Yeah. You think it's shit, like I could do this forever now. You know?
I'll break the world record next year at this rate.
Yeah, that's how it was. I probably gained like 4 kg in like a month to 2 or something like that. And then for a good year to 2 years, whatever, I didn't take no protein shakes, nothing. When I got to a certain level where I was thinking, shit, like, I can't get enough protein through my food, that's when I started to implement protein and things like that, supplements.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. Like now, I've went back to some essential supplements. I think that like are good, like vitamin D, for example. But given everything that happened with COVID, but there was, I think it's at the beginning, I had all the gear and no idea, I think is the phrase, and like I was buying all these like gym equipment and gym clothes and things, just like, these are my gym clothes to go to the gym, these are my gym protein powders and whatever, because I was very much into the gym. Then I went to absolutely nothing, so like had none of that stuff, and then now just whatever I actually need, and it's more of a feeling, does this actually benefit me or not? And because everybody is different, so something like pre-workout, for example, might do something for me and nothing for you, or vice versa, depending on your tolerances of caffeine and things like that.
Even pre-workout, I don't take pre-workout.
Yeah.
I if you have good sleep, you diet well, you won't even need pre-workout. I probably only time I take pre-workout is when I get ready for competition and I'm on like 0 carbs or something like that. That's when I only take pre-workouts. Yeah. So I try to keep everything to a minimal. For me, it's more about health. You know, that much caffeine can't be good for you. You know.
100%. Yeah. Well, there was that thing, wasn't it Jack 3D or something, that lady took it before marathon or something, and then had a heart attack, and obviously they banned it, which I don't think was the correct decision to ban it, because of one person being very stupid.
To be honest, there's quite a few issues with that. There's a number of people had health issues. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, a number of people. Yeah.
Okay. Well, maybe I shouldn't speak too much on anything that I don't know in depth. Then don't know in depth. But so 2014, you placed 8th out of like 80 to 100 people in that show, and then the next year is 2015, and you do a regional competition. And so at that stage, did you transition into men's physique? Was that the point where you went from the fit show to the men's physique category, or was it still after that point?
At that time, 2015. So coming off stage in 2014, I knew I wanted to do men's physique. So I knew I had to have a good off season and then do men's physique the year after. So I had a good off season, and I dieted down, no cardio, nothing. I didn't do any cardio that other either. So just strictly just relied on food and whatever, just tapering food down. And so yeah, 2015, I prepped again myself and competed at a regional show, UK BFF regional show, and I came, I think it was 5th. So they had like a top 6 or top 5, and I came 5th, which is within the awards, but I didn't get qualification to the finals. But I could have competed in juniors, but I didn't because I knew as a junior you can't be a pro.
Mhm.
You can't be a pro as a junior. If you were to compete in the junior category, you can't be a pro. So what I did was I competed in men's physique because, and also I want to be up against the big guys, you know.
You want to test
So
yourself?
test myself as well, and yeah. So I competed up the men's, and I came. I was in the top 5, but I didn't. I didn't go to the. I wasn't. I didn't qualify for the finals.
Mhm.
So coming off that show, I I had the motivation thinking shit. I got the buzz thinking shit like I want to come first. I want to get to the finals because I remember seeing there's so many spectators there, so many people competing, and yeah, I caught the whole buzz. And yeah, coming off the stage, I immediately um, ran to one of the guys who he's a coach, and he used to go to my gym. He was going to my same gym that I was training at, and I was like, "From now on, you're going to train me, and I'm gonna, I want to get to the finals." And I think that's where um, he convinced me to do the junior men's physique.
Mhm.
And he's like, "Do the junior men's physique this year, kill it, smash it, get your name out there. Then year after, when you're older, do the men's physique." And I listened to him, and that's when I literally 3 months after that, I competed in junior men's physique in another regional show, which was in Birmingham. So I came first. Probably like shows used to be really busy back then, but I came probably like I was first out of like 30 people, something like that. So yeah, and then I qualified for the British finals, and I competed in men's physique British finals, and I came first there as well. And but yeah, that's how my journey went then in 2015.
Not too bad then. Not too bad at all there. So
Yeah,
do you think that getting a coach made a big difference then for you?
getting a coach made a big difference for me because he's been there, done that. He knows it's good to get another opinion as well, you know, and also he's been around the block. Like he knows what to do. So yeah, that made a massive difference. And also done another show after that as well. After the finals, I done Arnold's. This was in Liverpool though.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it was Arnold's. I think it was Arnold's in Liverpool, and I competed that as well. So everyone from like you come from any country from around the world, so the Arabs there, or people from different countries in Europe, and I came top 6 in that, so sixth. And that wasn't the best, but yeah, I think it was 6th or 5th, but I was within the awards.
Um, and obviously during all of these competitions at junior level and obviously the men's physique competitions, the Arnold's there and things, as you said previously, you wanted to represent obviously the culture and you were wearing a turban throughout and like on stage with a turban. Obviously recently spoke to Rajay, who was on the podcast, the flying turban, and he mentioned that you had an experience at a competition, obviously where they asked you to remove your turban before going on stage, and then the way he described it was subsequently didn't really judge you as maybe they should have. Can you tell me which competition that was, if you're comfortable doing so, and tell me a bit more about the experience? And have you had any other issues previous or post that incident, or was it just like a one-off isolated event?
So when I won 2015, when I won the junior men's physique final, I came off stage and I go to he's like one of the big dogs of the committee, and I go to him. Okay, so what does it mean? I've won the junior men's physique British finals. I was like, can I compete in Arnold's now? And because Arnold's, I'm amateur Arnold's was quite new then, and it was never happened in the UK before. So I was like, could I compete in the Arnold's? Because obviously I've won the finals, and he goes, oh, I don't think they will. Actually, I asked him about, can I compete in the Arnold's in Barcelona next year? And he goes, oh, I don't know if they like your turban out there. Like, I was like, what? I was like, you're supposed to be like, son, don't worry, I'll back it for you, innit?
Yeah.
Just go for it. Because he's one of the big main guys, of the committee. Even the European committee, he's one of the main guys. And he's like, yeah, I don't know if they like it if you go out there at Barca to compete. And then that left me puzzled. I was thinking, what, like, I was like, I'm definitely going to compete now, innit? I don't give a shit. So that's when that drove me, like, that motivated me even more to compete, to train harder and go out to Barcelona and compete at the Arnold's.
100%. And then,
yeah.
So you get to Barcelona in 2016 then?
Yeah. So in I'm just trying to think where. So, no, sorry, I think it's probably 2016 or 2021.
Okay.
So
the competition you won in 2016, and then you went to the Arnold's in 2017 in Barcelona.
Yeah, so I won in 2017. So that conversation happened in 2016 when I asked the main guy, can I compete at the Arnold's? So 2017, I went to. In 2016, I think I could have went to the Arnold's, but I didn't. I didn't feel I was big enough. I didn't think I was ready. So that's when I went in 2017 when I thought I was ready to go. Because I'm not going to compete just to make up the numbers, and also it costs money to go out there. It's not cheap.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and just to mention as well, like the gentleman who was obviously in the committee, it's a bit of a weird thing to just say as it is. Do you know what I mean? Like, oh, you can't go because you're turban, or I don't think they're like that, which is basically saying, yeah, you can go, but if you don't wear your turban, like he's obviously not saying it explicitly, but it's implied essentially, which is it's a real shame. Obviously, I'm hoping that experience or them experiences haven't happened previously in the UK, and evidently not, because he's saying when you're coming off stage, I don't think they're like that. But it hasn't.
Sorry, let me highlight that was with the UK BFF.
Okay.
Yeah, so I just want to differentiate with other committees. Like, it's not. It wasn't with that. Yeah.
Okay,
sorry
fair enough. But any individual from any committee saying it is a bit messed up, regardless.
Yeah.
Obviously, it shouldn't be a thing. Like, it's you shouldn't have to like sacrifice your faith for sport, for example. Like, and that's it's just not on. But sorry, I interrupted there just because I feel like it shouldn't have even been said in the first place by the gentleman before you even go into Barcelona. And then I understand that different places in the world are culturally a bit different, but racism doesn't have a place in any of them cultures. But yeah, continue. Sorry. So you go to Barcelona in 2017.
Yeah. So I was obviously training for a year or whatever, thinking, okay, I'm gonna compete at Barcelona and make an impression. I was probably the only Asian there as well, and further than that, I was the only turban-wearing person there. And so yeah, I got ready for the competition, and obviously taking days of work, so weeks of work actually, and paying money to go out there, fly out there, hotel, whatever. And then I also qualified for that competition too, wearing my turban. So getting out there, I got to I was about to get onto the stage. There's loads of people competing in my category, probably like 30, probably to 50 or something like that. So I was waiting to go onto stage, and one of the judges, actually they're mixed judges. So you had some judges from Spain, UK, Italy, even from like Dubai and them sort of areas. So there's a mixed panel there, and I was about to get onto stage, and one of the Spanish judges or whatever, or one of the helpers, he goes to me, or she, they go, oh, you can't wear that thing. I was like, why? I go, it's part of my faith, it's my religion. And they go, oh, you can only go on stage if you take it off. I go, no, I'm going to go on stage, I'm not going to take it off. I got qualified wearing it, I'm going to compete with it as well. And so anyway, I was walking onto stage, and the guys who tells us where to stand, he starts to point at my bug, and then point back to the judges, and then that basically kind of pissed me off. I was thinking, why am I being singled out here? I was thinking, there's definitely something going on. Either they're marking me down or whatever. So that was playing back in my mind while I was trying to compete, hit my poses and stuff. But yeah, the weird thing is when I got off stage, also I didn't feel like they were looking at me really. So each time you'd be in the middle with you and 5 other people probably, so in total it'd be 6 people. So you could tell if they're looking at you or not. I don't think they were looking at me. But yeah, when I got off stage, some Spanish judges came to me and they're like, oh, very good physique. And they started taking pictures of me. I was thinking, like, what the hell? I was confused, I was thinking, what the hell, man? Like, but yeah, I didn't place then. If I deserve first, give me first. If I deserve last, give me last. But yeah.
Off the merit of the physique, like it shouldn't have to take into consideration anything else. Do you think, looking back, that you placed correctly, or do you think there was a bias because of what obviously the conversation beforehand and the guy who's obviously putting everybody in position and obviously pointing to the turban and to the judges? Do you think that looking back, do you think that you placed correctly at that competition? I know it's a weird one because subjectively, like, you're going to take your opinion into it, but it's like I know it's obviously going to be a biased opinion, but like in your heart of hearts, do you think that you should have placed higher? And it's only your opinion.
I don't even place in that show. I think I should have placed 100%. There were people coming up to me like saying you got a good physique, even though the fellow competitor I've never met before. What? Also, there's more to this as well later on. So, do you want me to go?
Yeah.
So, having competed at the competition, obviously I was pissed off and confused, and so my coach convinced me to do the Prague show. I don't want to do the show. I was thinking, what's the point, but yeah, he convinced me to do the show. And then also my family was like, go compete in it, because I didn't give up, but I was thinking, what is the point? Because they're going to overlook me again. Mm-hmm. But then I ended up going to that show as well. But I didn't place then, but to be honest, the show was delayed hugely by like 7 hours, 8 hours. So, timing is very important in competing. So my diet, my pump was completely off or whatever. So that I could understand, right? But yeah, when I come back to the UK to compete in the finals, after the Prague show and obviously the show in Spain, when I came back to the UK, the gym I used to go to, the owner of the gym, he also runs like a magazine as well, Beef magazine. I don't know, but he made an article saying, obviously, I went to Barcelona, competed, and this is what happened to him. So then, in a way, when I was going to compete at the British finals, and that put me on the back foot.
Right. Okay. So because
so I went to British.
Sorry, go on.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
So you've went to the Prague show, and obviously the format of the show was a bit delayed and things, so that's obviously not the best situation. But you've came back from that, and would you agree that going out to the Prague show was more just to get that one after the Spain show out of the way, because you're probably a bit more discouraged you need another competition to just get back in the rhythm of things. You've come back in bodybuilding magazine.
My main reason to go out to Prague was to show the judges, because I knew there'd be the same, or one or two of the same judges there as well. And my main aim was to tell them, I'm not going to give up. So that's the main reason why I went out there. And but yeah, gotta carry on.
And then you came back, and the gentleman from your gym who has the magazine has wrote an article explaining what's happened in Barcelona. And that did he say it in a way that it was unjust towards you? Is that like basically the gist of the article?
Yeah.
So how's that put you on the back foot? Because surely that would raise awareness onto not doing it again in a future competition.
So what happened was, obviously the UK BFF committee, they felt a bit of a backlash because obviously they outed them, and I did as well.
Yeah.
So when that article went ahead, I started posting about it as well. I was like, you know what, it's out there, so I started posting about it. Actually, no, I started to post about it after the finals actually. But yeah, I just let the article go ahead. I was thinking, okay, cool. Not everyone's probably read it. But yeah, and when I went to the competition, British finals, I got on stage, and it felt a bit off. They wasn't looking at me, nothing. And then when it came to giving the placings, I think from being first in my category 2 years running to being not even in the placing, not even top 10. So they give you places from 1 to 10. The rest, they don't really give you a placing after 10th. And look at Physiques who won it. And this was on that year, the Physiques weren't as good to when I had won it. And seeing some of the Physiques, they probably had another 8 weeks to go before they were lean enough to compete. And they were ahead of me. They finished ahead of me. Some of them, you could say, okay, maybe they were probably on par with me. Okay. But I think I should at least come top 3, probably top 3, or maybe 5th or something like that. Not out of the, not even.
You should have at least placed. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And is that like, obviously, I'm guessing it's again politics. And I like how before we were talking about kabaddi, you're like, oh, I don't want to go into kabaddi for the politics, and you end up going into bodybuilding, and it's for
exactly
politics again. So I'm guessing it's like the black sheep sort of thing, isn't it? Of like this person's causing a bit of trouble. Let's leave him out of it. Is it? Do you think it's that type of situation?
Yeah. And also another thing is, maybe, I don't know if I'm overthinking or what, but my friend who I went to Prague with, Barcelona with, he had the same coach as me. His name's Craig. Respect to him. He didn't also place either.
Right, okay.
Maybe this is some sort of, way to get at us or something like that.
Yeah.
Because we had the same coach, everything, and we were competing together as well. European shows. He didn't place either, which was a bit strange. And
so what was the backlash after that competition? Was there anything done, said? Obviously, if you felt like it was unjust, what can you even do to basically rectify that?
So basically, shortly after that, there was a new competition. So UKBFF had lost the affiliation with IFBB Pro. So they couldn't give pro cards. That was the last British finals where they could give pro cards. We knew that before going into the show. I think that would happen. So then right after the show, I posted about it on my Instagram, story after story. And then a lot of people messaging me saying, shit, like, that really happened. Like, that's mad. Like, got so many people, DMing me, asking me what happened, what I was showing sport. And, but yeah, because we knew there's another committee coming out, which is called Two Bros Pro in the UK, who would have the right to award pro cards. And obviously UKBFF had lost the affiliation with IFBB Pro to give pro cards.
Yeah.
So I wasn't going to compete with them anyway.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So, well, I guess it's good timing then in that
Yeah.
essence. Have you competed since?
Yeah, I competed in so when I competed in 2017, and then this new show, people obviously a lot bigger, and so with this new compete, Two Buzz Pro, they're more in line with the Pro League, so they want you
Okay.
to be bigger. But with you could be fair, they want you to be more athletic, more smaller, which is weird, but that's how it is, you know.
Yeah.
So
It's
I
different.
took, so I took 2 years off competing. So I competed in 2019, and I competed in 2019 with Two Bros Pro.
I'm guessing
So
that's to put on the size to match the criteria for the new division.
yeah, it probably wasn't enough, but I took 2 years off here to compete with Two Bros Pro 2019.
Is the 2 years bro a untested federation, or was it
Yeah, yeah. So Two Bros Pro is
Okay.
yeah, they have the affiliation with IFBB Pro, so they hold shows in the UK and I think around Europe as well, in affiliation with the Pro League and NPC. NPC is the amateur
Yeah,
league.
right.
Yeah.
I get you. And then obviously 2 years after that, you probably haven't competed again because of COVID and things. And then have you just used that as an opportunity to basically put on more size? As you said, you didn't think you put on enough for that show. And have you competed since coming out of COVID, or is your first show going to be this summer?
Yeah, I didn't compete from 2019 up till now. I haven't competed.
Yeah, I
So
think obviously most people didn't because of COVID and things. So I'm guessing
COVID,
you just used it to put on more
but
size.
my main reason not to compete was obviously I need to gain more muscle, and competing from 2014, 15 every summer. So I was competing 2014, 15, 16, 17, and then took 2 years out, competed 2019. That takes a toll on you,
Mhm.
you know, and you can't even go anywhere. Summer's the time where you go holiday or whatever, go with your friends. But I wasn't doing none of that. I was just getting ready for competitions, 3 month prep or whatever, and doing competitions from say, was it August down to October. So
Yeah,
you know, you can imagine that takes it out of you, and also you can't, you're not you're probably not um, thinking. I was thinking about my career, but probably not as much as I could. I wasn't given enough. Um, um, you know, I wasn't. I thought I had to. There came a time where I was thinking, shit, like I need to put my career ahead of competing.
yeah,
So from 2017 and onwards is all about my career. I was training hard, you know, but competing was kind of like on the back foot.
Mhm.
But
Yeah. No, 100%. It's work-life balance, I guess, is what it comes down to. And I think the conversation I had with Randy was similar. That he normally competes a year. Next year he doesn't. The year after he does. So he does it like as like a cyclical. Every other year he'll compete.
yeah.
I think the
So
reason. Mhm.
what is I see a lot of people coming to gym and within the first year of come going gym or first 2 years they want to compete, and all they want to do is just compete. They don't think about the career. They don't give a shit about the career, and then um, they compete, and then thinking, oh, they're going to become a pro overnight or whatever, and they're going to get all these supplement companies paying them £1,000 to, you know, promote their protein or whatever. But it's nothing like that. It's very important to to concentrate on your career as well and progress in that front. I'm not saying don't train, don't go gym, but you need a balance.
Mhm.
Because imagine if I'm a gas engineer, so I'm my own business and everything. Imagine if I wasn't, you know, paying attention to my career, and I think I was become pro. Like I haven't gone pro now, you know, you know. So I think it's important to concentrate on our careers as well, rather than just going gym, thinking, oh, I'm going to become pro. There's a very small minority who will be pro. And also being a singer, Sikh, real bug, probably even more difficult. Saying that, I remember getting ready for my competition. I think it was 2016 when I won the men's physique. I was actually working 14 hours a day, so I was doing call outs and stuff, and I was training at 2 a.m., 3 a.m. at the gym. I remember, so I always had my eye on my career as well, rather than just competing. So I think it's important that we all have a balance in work and training as well.
Definitely, and a lot of the athletes that I've spoken to have obviously had to find that balance, and I think there is a tipping point where if you do have the potential to make something out of it, and you can recognize that, then there's no issue of obviously going balls to the wall for it. But for example, Dylan Chima is a boxer, former kickboxing world champion. He recently was on Sky Sports in the boxer tournament.
I saw that.
Yeah. So he still works full time, and at his family business. I think they have shops. I think he's a manager at a cash and carry, and then he does the boxing on top of that. And it became to a point with the boxer tournament where there was a bit more commitment to that, because obviously there's the potential of it actually being something substantial, which it ended up being. But on the Monday, he was back to work. Do you know what I mean? So I think it is the social media sort of lifestyle that people aspire to, but that isn't reality. It is highlights. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's watching, as a Liverpool fan, you'd know this from the FA Cup win the other day, that it's the highlights are very different to the game, because the game was boring as fuck. But you watch the penalty shootout at the end and it looks amazing. Do you know what I mean? And that's basically what people would aspire to, is look on Instagram and like, oh, competition here, oh, he's got a protein powder over here, but not seeing that he's probably been on 14-hour shifts at work and then having to squeeze in a workout somewhere in between, and he's probably got packs and packs of meat and chicken to get his food in a fucking ice pack on a plane, like Raj, do you know what I mean, like Rajay, and they don't see that side of things. They're obviously the glitz and glamour is completely separate. But I fully agree with your point. The counter to that would be, historically, us as South Asians, Indians specifically, or Punjabi specifically, is we've always had it drilled into us of like, sports is a hobby, don't take it serious, you could go get your degree. But that is also a detriment, because then people don't take it seriously. So it is, like you said, it is a balancing act. You do want to, if you feel like you are good at something and you do want to pursue it, then 100% pursue it. But also, if you've got to be realistic with yourself and say, if there isn't actually like viability to either, one, reach the heights of that sport that you enjoy, or make a financial sort of footing for yourself, then obviously you've got to be realistic in that aspect as well. But it's going to be individual for everybody, isn't it? Everyone's got different circumstances and things like that. So I think it is just an interesting point, because it's both sides are equally as important to each other as having that sport, athleticism and hobby and outlet, but also having, obviously, security is also quite important as well.
Yeah, it is very important, because you could have the best physique possible, but it doesn't mean you're gonna make lots of money, just because you have a good physique.
Exactly. There'll be some guy who's training in his garage somewhere who could probably win a competition if he, on like a national level or something, get a sponsorship if he wanted to, but he's never done it before. Boxing is very similar to that. Though there's some fighters who technically are better than others, but financially with nothing compared to, you know what I mean? Like in boxing conversations that I've had on the podcast before, I use Dave Allen as an example. I don't know if you know who he is, but essentially he's a heavyweight, but he's more just of a lad's lad. It really
Yeah.
appeals to the British culture and the British boxing fan, because he's like had sponsorships with, I think, Babe Station and Iron Brew, and he's one of them type of lads. You know what I mean? Like proper lad.
Yeah.
He has made a very good living out of boxing, even though arguably I'm not saying this in a disrespectful way, because I really do like him as a boxer. Arguably he's not that great. I wouldn't even say he's European level. He's probably just domestic level. But because of the banter, essentially, he's made more money than arguably some other better heavyweights than him. And it's like that.
Yeah, look at these Instagram influencers. I see them at gym. They look nothing like they look on Instagram, and they have so many followers and making money, promoting products and stuff. So
Yeah,
it doesn't mean that because you have a good physique, you're gonna make money off it.
yeah. Editing, like a good photographer, goes a long way. Do you know what I mean? We all need someone like Singh captures in our gym with us. Do you know what I mean? Shout out to Howie, please. But if we all had him in our corner, then we could probably all be influencers.
100%. Yeah.
Do you, from your experiences and obviously the support that you had from other people, obviously from the discrimination that you face, and from the 2012 stage when you were entering the gym, have you seen a shift in the South Asian bodybuilding community, and have you seen a shift towards yourself when you've been competing? So the show in 2019, did you find a noticeable difference to the show in 2017?
It's very hard to say. I admit it's still in the back of my mind when I compete that, yeah, when I competed in 2019, the judges weren't even looking at me properly. Maybe that's probably my physique wasn't good enough or whatever. I don't know. But yeah, that's back of my mind. But yeah, shit. Like, is the same thing still going on? Because out of the committee, maybe I don't know. Maybe the judge could be a friend with the committee that outed or something like that. These thoughts go into your mind. So, but yeah, it's very hard to answer that question.
What would you, if you could basically recommend anything to all the, as you were saying, there's a lot of things that are coming up into bodybuilding, and obviously you are probably going to compete again and things. What would you recommend to somebody going forward? Like, do they have to be conscious of this, or is it the mentality that you adopted at the beginning of the podcast when you were saying you need to basically overachieve to just achieve the same result? Like, you have to go the extra mile just to get the same result, or should it not even be taken into consideration and you just focus on yourself? Like, how are you going to go forward, and what would you say to other people who would want to wear their turban on stage?
I have the same mindset as to when I started. I have to be head and shoulders above everyone else. I need everyone watching, the spectators, to see, okay, he's a clear winner. So I'm sticking to that sort of mindset, because that also pushes me as well, motivates me in the gym. So
100%.
yeah, that's the sort of mindset I would adopt.
100%. Yeah, I feel like I've covered most of the questions that I wanted to ask in terms of obviously your experiences. I didn't know about the article, which was quite fascinating to me. Unless there's anything that you think that we've missed out on and want to touch upon.
Not really. I appreciate you getting me on this podcast. It's good to share my experience. Back when I started competing, there's obviously not enough awareness about this sort of thing, and there wasn't enough. First of all, there wasn't any, none to probably, or like, you've got Randy that was competing back then. So yeah, it's good that we've got someone like you, creating awareness.
Oh, Randy, yeah.
Because I remember when I was getting into competing, and yeah, when I was getting into competing, I don't really have no one to talk to, even ask, like, being the Singh going into stage. I felt like I was stuck in a way, because going on stage with a picture or whatever and being a thing, it was daunting, but I did want to represent ourselves as well at the same time. So yeah, I think it's good that we've got like podcasts like this, which people could watch and take note, and use my experiences and other people's experiences to the advantage. And yeah, if anyone, sorry, and yeah, if anyone wants to start competing or want to get into competing, just wants to ask like a question, you could DM me, ask me whenever, like more than 3 to ask me. I don't have an issue with that.
Is Instagram your preferred platform, or are you on any other social medias as well?
Or? Just Instagram. Yeah.
Which will be in the link in the description for anybody who does want to DM Jorawar and ask any questions. But honestly, the pleasure is all mine. Like I've had the fortune to speak to people that and share their stories and experiences, and it's purely from fascination on my end. So I'm just glad that you've shared an hour of your time, and I really do appreciate it. And shout out to Rajay, because I wasn't actually aware of the situation before he highlighted it to me, and it's like a knock-on effect. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think originally I did a podcast with Lion Flex Manj, and then he put me on to Heracles, and then he put me on to Rajay, who put me on to yourself and Randeep, and it's like a knock-on effect. So I think it is nice that obviously the community is in full support of each other. Obviously, it has been growing over time, and as you said, most people in the community are actually willing to share their expertise and experiences. If people do want to ask questions, don't hesitate to get into the DMs of people. And what's the worst that can happen? They don't respond to you. You know what I mean? Like if they don't see it, they don't respond.
To be honest, there's one guy well known amongst up there, Suki here. He was competing in men's physique,
okay.
and well, Sukiya's cousin knew my cousin, so we had mutual kind of people, and I asked him a few questions, which didn't help. Obviously, being the Singh only peppering person to do it, obviously I had Randeep, but it was a completely new experience. I didn't know what I was getting myself into, but yeah, it's definitely good to have people out there that could give you advice and help you along the journey.
100%. Look, I've said this countless amounts of times on this podcast. Like, if you see somebody else doing something that you want to do and they look similar to you, it becomes so much more realistic and achievable. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you see a brown footballer, like, there's going to be so many little brown kids that look up to that footballer, and it becomes achievable. But if you don't see anybody doing it, then obviously it's like, oh well, Indians aren't meant to play sport because there isn't Indians in sport. Whereas that's slowly going away because there are more people in each sport. You have powerlifters, bodybuilders, boxers, footballers, like with professional pool players, and I've had the fortune to speak to a lot of them on this podcast. And that's the one thing that I say to each one of them is there's going to be a little kid who looks at you, and it becomes a bit more realistic if they have a passion for it. Whereas maybe beforehand, like, especially like if you're trying to convince your parents to go to like a boxing club, you can be like, look, I want to be like X, Y, and Z. And it has a powerful impact, because as we were saying before, when you don't really realize the mindset until like the reasoning behind the mindset until years later. I mean, that head and shoulders above everybody else, it stems from somewhere, and it does have a long-lasting impact, especially when you're like a young child. But the way that I do like to wrap up each podcast is just by asking the same 5 questions to every guest. So if we just crack on with these, and as I say, links in the description to follow OG Sidhu, and you can ask him any questions in the DMs. But the first question for the quickfire questions is, what are you most proud of?
There's numerous things to probably say. This probably isn't quick fire now. Probably being overalls of men's physique. So winning my so they win the British finals and being in the overalls, probably that is, and obviously my family watching as well, being proud of me.
What are you most looking forward to?
Competing next time.
What's your biggest motivation?
Biggest motivation is, it's a tough one. Biggest motivation is to have no regrets, to give it all.
What's your definition of success?
Sorry, what was that?
What's your definition of success?
Being happy.
And
that's very important.
100%. And last but not least, because it's the KultureKast podcast, how do you think your culture has affected you in your journey thus far?
I think the culture has affected me in a positive way. I think if it wasn't for my culture, I wouldn't have got this far. And obviously, like the mindset I was talking to you about, I adopted the mindset of like, you want to be the best of the best, and you want to be, stand out amongst everyone else. Being a Singh, if it wasn't for my culture, for Sikhi, I'd probably push myself as much, because I feel like I was representing everyone, and I was doing for Upbringing if I won. So that's how my thinking and my mindset was. And also, I would think, oh shit, if I lose, I'm gonna let everyone down. So in a way, that pushed me, that motivated me. So culture had a positive impact on me in competing.
100%, smashed it. And like the jumper just says, we're just getting started. So hopefully there's going to be many more years and competing ahead of many more trophies. I see you put the hashtag on everything. Every post is always the same hashtag. So I was like, you got the jumper to match.
I know. That's it, man. Shout out Sidhu, my friend made it for me.
Smashed it. Shout out to him, man. I want to get one. Wicked. As I said, your links will be in the bio. Check out obviously the Instagram, because a lot of the things that we referred to will be in that feed. And and catch everybody in the next episode.